I'm just gonna make a video because I have excess energy right now. Too much energy. I should be tired, but I'm not. And, what are you gonna do? I still have an hour left until I'm back. And, I've been frittering the time away by listening to music and dancing, but apparently, well, I mean, I could still be doing that, but instead of doing that, I'm making a video. Am I tired? Can't tell. Do I look tired? Maybe I'm just delusional. Maybe I'm really actually tired and I think I'm full of energy. It's possible. It is possible. I might actually be tired. Is there like a book you can use to look up like how to ascertain if I'm tired or not? Probably Google would know. But it's kind of hard for me to Google and drive and make videos at the same time. And I don't have any Hey Google set up on my phone, so that's probably not going to happen. What is the purpose of life? Explain to my Mr. Solace. I really need to trim the hedges. I have too many channels that I'm subscribed to, and I don't ever watch videos. Why am I subscribed to any channels? I don't even know. I don't know why anybody's subscribed to my channel. We should all stop making videos and just go and like do stuff, go do stuff. Go make houses, build Hogwarts. Whatever, do something. Everybody should just be doing shit. Everyone on the freeway should stop their cars and just go exchange keys. We spend so much time doing the dumbest, most boring shit imaginable. And that's incorrect to say that, because the level of dumb and boring shit that everyone is engaged with on a daily basis is not something that comes from the imagination. It's something that comes when the imagination has been fully doused. Maybe it's the moon's fault. Look at that. Could be the moon's fault. The moon always has seemed a little bit pretentious to me, just because it's always so bright, Just kind of like an attention whore. Like dogs. All dogs are attention whores. Yeah, basically I'm just bored. After sitting in the car by yourself for 12 hours, see, at least in San Francisco I have people coming in through here, like my car is like a portal for people passaging, so there's interesting things going on. But when I'm just in this car by myself for 12 hours straight, I get really bored, unless I'm just listening to music and dancing, but I already did that for 10 hours, I have to switch it up sometimes. I get bored of staring at the moon after a while, Sometimes I get bored of staring at smoke all day. I just feel like there are lots of improvements to be done. Replace the kitchen or something. Replace the countertops with like porcelain or cork. Put paddle tires on your vehicle and go down the freeway. There are so many improvements to be done. So many improvements. Just yell and scream all day so your voice is hoarse like mine. I've just been yelling for no reason. Listen to the same song 10,000 times in a row. Yes, that's good. That's good. You know why YouTube doesn't have a button that lets you play the same song 10,000 times in a row? You know why they don't have that? Because people would play the same song 10,000 times in a row. And that has to be bad for YouTube. I don't know exactly why necessarily that's bad for YouTube. I don't know. But if that was not bad for YouTube, then YouTube would have that option, I would imagine. Maybe it has something to do with advertisements. So, I know I've been talking a lot of nonsense, which is good, but I also have some non-nonsense to share, because I had a topic that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't talk about it. Uh-oh. Stuff is happening. So, this is the thing about what we have done with our lovely spaceship Earth, realm, world, thought space, co-creative collective that has fallen into a drunken stupor. So there is this thing called reciprocal exchange, or just general energetic reciprocity, right? What that kind of is just being fair, you know? It's being fair. It's really like a simple way of describing what reciprocal exchange would mean. So like, say you say hello to somebody, hi, and what do? They say hi, right? That's a reciprocal exchange. It's a virtually even energetic exchange, and both parties go away probably feeling better because they both did something nice for one another, right? Or, you know, say somebody slaps somebody in the face real hard, and then the other guy, they got slapped, immediately turns back and slaps the first guy in the face, and then they stop. They're done there, okay? That's another reciprocal exchange on the negative side. Now they probably both feel like, you know, they probably both feel worse after that exchange, but it was relatively fair and relatively equal, right? So that's kind of how it works, you know, in relationships. If you have a girlfriend or if you have a boyfriend, you know, one of the two does something, I don't know, thoughtful, like hide a note somewhere in the bathroom, you know, whatever, hide like a love note in the bathroom, and then, you know, that sparks whoever received the note to be like, hey, you know, this person knows I exist, this is amazing, I should do something in return, you know, and they do something in return, you know, they write whatever. There are many ways to do this type of stuff, but generally speaking, there's some sort of a return on whatever you're doing. And that's just direct reciprocal energetic exchanging. That's direct. That's not how it necessarily has to happen. We have another term that talks about the phenomenon of the general balance in the universe or the multiverse or the infiniverse, and that's called karma, right? We know that as karma. Karma just means what you do, generally speaking, is how you feel. You're just horrible to everybody and you're killing and murdering and raping, well, you're probably going to get that kind of thing coming back at you, right? And you're probably going to be in fear and you're going to hate everything and you're going to hate yourself and you'll probably get raped in jail at some point. I don't know. Generally speaking, what goes around comes around. That's karmic, right? That's why people say commit random acts of kindness. Do something nice for somebody. Yes? And it will come back around. For instance, Lauda gave me some crystals. She gave me some gifts, 4 of them, right? In a nice little baggie. And I always hear people harping on about you gotta do general random acts of kindness, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I never know if I'm gonna do it or not. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But today, when I went to the rest stop to have a piss, there was a homeless family there. There was a woman and her young son, like 10 years old, and then I found out later that the father or the dad or the husband or whatever was walking around. And I know about homeless people. I see them all the time in San Francisco. Do I give money to every single homeless person I see? No. Sometimes I give. Most of the time I don't. But this particular situation, it was a family, and that's different to me because that's not about people necessarily burning bridges because they haven't burned bridges with each other. So they're still, they're still out there doing stuff together, which is good. So I was like, all right, I'll give them something. So I went back to my car and grabbed the bag, which has accumulated all sorts of things in it from all the people I visited on the trip, like candies and cheesies and chocolate bars and snap peas, pea snap snacks, and sandwiches, and lots of things in there, lots of food items. So I was like, all right, I'll give them this, and I'll give them $20 because I have money in my wallet, and why not? So I walked my bag up to them, and I walked my $20 up to them, and I asked them if they needed food, and they said yes, so I gave them the food. And I gave the mother the $20. And she said thank you, and I said you're welcome, and goodbye, basically. And then I left. And about an hour later, I started thinking about those crystals and how cool they were. They were really nice crystals. Like yeah. And they were also a personal gift, so they had sentimental value and whatnot. But those crystals, I'm virtually 100% sure, are in the bag. And they are now living with that family. Right? So most likely, I am never going to see those crystals again. Maybe they'll come back, I don't know. I verified with Joey and Crystal that they're not at their house. So the crystals are gone, right? Just gone. They're with somebody else. And given that, I'm talking still on this general rule of reciprocal exchange, equal reciprocal energetic exchange in every interaction that you have with anything, with a human, with a plant, anything. Your mother, with a car in front of you on the freeway. So I did something with that family, right? I gave them something. They gave me something. Every time you give something, they give something back. Like they provided the other half of that interaction. So automatically they're giving something just by virtue of being there. But the law of karma would say, generally speaking, that that act of kindness will come back to me somehow, right? At some point. And generally speaking, you're not supposed to go shouting from the rooftops that you did something nice and, you just do it and then forget about it. And I know I'm telling all you guys about it, and that's fine. And I don't really hold myself too much to that particular rule, because most of the time I don't tell anybody about it if I do something like that. But I'm talking about karma and the law of reciprocal exchange, and this is weaving nicely into it. So how it would work, how it's supposed to work is I would give the homeless family something, some food, and they get some crystals as a bonus, and I didn't even know I was going to give them those. And they're probably going to find somehow those rocks are going to serve that family better than they would have served me. How do I know that? Because they're not with me. If the rocks were still with me, then they would be serving me better. This is how I understand the whole entire realm. That's how I understand it. If it's happened, then it's supposed to happen. If it's not happened, it's not supposed to happen. So I give them things, gave them the stones on accident. It's fine. And I suppose that at some point that will come back around somehow. Like, they're going to touch other people, they're going to be affected by the food I gave them, they're going to be affected by the stones that they got on accident somehow, some way, and that ripple effect will go out, and it's going to come back to me somehow. Do I know when? No. Do I know how? No. Do I know in what amount? No. And guess what all of that adds up to? It adds up to mystery, right? I don't know when it's coming back. I don't know how it's coming back. I just do know that it's coming back somehow, some way. And even if it wasn't, just the small amount of, warm fuzzies I got by handing it over was fine enough. Even if it doesn't come back like, multiplied or however they say, that doesn't matter. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because this is really just a bitch rant about corporations. It's partially about being nice, but I like complaining, so probably the time passes faster if I'm bitching and moaning about something. Yeah, see, we're already almost there. So this is the thing that has happened with our system. Our system took that very simple, universal constant of energetic exchange, right? Of equal and opposite energetic reciprocity in every single interaction. Okay, the business world took that and it tried to bottle it up. It tried to write it down. It tried to contain it somehow. And so now what happens is you go walk into a store, right? You say, hey, I'm going to get my exchange going on here. I'm going to exchange this thing for that thing. You're doing the same exact thing as when you smile at somebody and they smile back at you. But the problem is these dead entity corporation deal thing, bank money, monster debt stuff, has inserted it in as middleman. And so now, instead of, say, somebody's inside of a building and they have a pear, and you go in there and you're like, hey man, I need a pear. And they're like, well, I have this pear and I don't really need it, so you can have it. Okay? They give you the pear, you give them a smile and a thank you. Both sides have received apt consideration for that exchange, right? And if you even go into the karma thing, then in the mystery part of it, then those actions are going to go on out, they're going to flutter out into the world and ripple out, and then they're going to bounce off other stuff and eventually make their way back to you, right? What the corporation things have done is they have quantified, they have attempted to quantify this very basic universal law of energetic equal exchange. And so instead of doing the thing that I just described with a pear, instead of doing that, you go in there and you say, hey, I have this thing and I want that thing, I want to exchange. You say, hey, I want that tool, I want that hammer. So I want to exchange this piece of green paper for the hammer. Yes? So you do it. And outside of the fact that there are numerous invisible hands grabbing pieces of green paper off with every single exchange, which makes it not equal, outside of that just ridiculousness in and of itself, the mystery has been removed from the whole thing. Expectations have become the norm for the exchanges. And now businesses rely on expectations being met, right? I hand you the green piece of paper. I really expect that the thing that comes back to me to be exactly as I want it and expect it. And therefore there's no mystery whatsoever. I'm gonna be bored of it within 3 seconds after I buy it. And there's no mystery involved, and there's no energetic karmic stuff going out, fluttering, flying off into the world that's going to come back and meet you, unless you exchange very nice pleasantries with the clerk. And the clerk probably isn't doing that because they're upset because they're only making minimum wage and they don't have any time to engage in anything mysterious. Are we home yet? I think I have another half an hour. So that's that. The orating the dead corpse into life is exactly the same thing as like reanimating a dead body and then spending all of your energy shaking that thing around. Trying to make it look like it's living. We were just talking about this on Fucker Book or whatever that website is called. We were just talking about it, about reanimating the dead. That's what corporations are, speaking the dead into life. Corpse oration. It says it right in the word. And this is exactly the same as everything everywhere. Nothing is hidden. Everything is out in the open. There is no such thing as disclosure. Disclosure has already happened a billion times over, and it's just, you just look or you don't look. You stay with your head in the sand or you don't. It's up to you. And contrary to what Matt was talking about, and Matt had a really good video, and I appreciate what he does. He's a very genuine, honest guy. Contrary to his possible opinion that we might be in dire straits right now as humanity, as a species, I don't think so. I think eternity is eternity, and the infinite is the infinite, and it's endless, and it's never it's always changing. And you have the basis, what Alan Watts would call the ground of being, which is your inner, Zen core, your silent spot, your still 0 point, your unmanifest potentiality, black hole, whatever you want to call it. That it's contrasted with the ever-changing, ever-moving, ever-fluidic, outside-appearing universe, multiverse or infiniverse. That's simply how it is. Whatever dimension you're in, whatever form you're appearing, whether you're a reptile or a hybrid or a machine or a man or a woman or a moon, or whether you have exploded into a supernova, whether you're a black hole that's about to gobble up everything, it doesn't matter what form you're appearing in. The same basic format has always existed. That being, there is some sort of form, there is some sort of consciousness or awareness that is inhabiting the form, that is moving through the form as the form. And then there's the zero spot, there's the Zen point, there's the enlightenment, there's the peace, the silence, the stillness, the internal stillness that makes, horrifying things palatable, because the horrifying things happen within the stillness, and the stillness isn't affected by them. And it's just a matter of where you put your attention. You have that available to you just like everybody else does. There's nothing special about being enlightened. It just means you're accessing that spot more often than most people. Most people don't access it at all because they're spending all their time watching TV and feeling scared, or feeling bored, or feeling angry, or hangry, or whatever. They're always feeling some type of way, though. And even so, no matter what sorts of discussions that seem to endlessly go on and 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 on, you as the individual, as the individuated unit of consciousness, are still in the same position you've always been. You're here, you have something to wiggle around, and you're either wiggling it or you're not. You're either doing the same exact thing you've done forever, or you're just surprising yourself and jumping out of your skin, or you're jumping off the cliff, or you're going and visiting. Like, I'm doing different stuff. I just visited a bunch of people I never met in the physical in my entire life. Border Patrol didn't believe it. They wanted to inspect my vehicle. I thought it was hilarious. You know? Nobody's stopping you, nobody's stopping me. We're free to do stuff. If you're here and you have a body, you should be doing stuff. That's just my opinion. You don't actually have to. You can be a lazy ass forever. Probably. Or you can not be a lazy ass. You can do something. Or you can go meet other people. Go meet other plants. Go meet other planets. Go meet other life forms. Go meet other universes. Go pull a Rick and Morty and hop into the next dimension. Like, how much have you actually tried with your life? You know? Even if you were to consider that all of this hyperdimensional, extra-dimensional, crazy conspiracy theory shit wasn't real at all, even if that was your main stance, still, have you done what you wanted to do with your regular life? Are you working the job you want? Do you have the type of spouse or mate that you want? Or would you rather be single and you're still with somebody? You know? Like, it's always about, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you doing nothing? Are you doing something? Doing what you want to do? Are you doing what you hate? Sometimes you just gotta grab yourself by the neck and like, shake yourself up, you know? Do something. Because if you don't, then the realm just appears as it does normally, and it just does the same boring thing. And people drive in straight lines. And the moon sits there and looks arrogant, you know? That's just what happens. You're the one that's gotta shake, you gotta move your own self and move around, you know, be nice, don't be pushy, all these things as well. But well, I'm getting tired of listening to myself talk, and my voice is getting tired of talking, so I'm gonna actually stop now. And thanks for listening for about half an hour. You got me half an hour closer to home, and I will see everybody later. Bye.